guys, it's me. I'm here today to show you a quick gentleman's square layer, okay? So what this is gonna do is, Sam here, my husband, he's trying to grow his hair out, and you guys can see a little bit, because his hair is dark and so is his cape. His hair is meeting his shoulders right now. So technically, since this is touching his shoulders, he would be medium to long if we looked in our style consultation, our factors of depth, anything like that, okay? So he needs a little bit of a cleanup. His ends are a little fragile. They've lived for a little bit. We want to make sure that he doesn't have any split ends or anything like that. So we're going to go in. I'm going to do my layering first, and then I'm going to clean up the perimeter after I do the layering, okay? So here we go. First, what I'm going to do is make sure that my client's hair is nice and prepped. He washed it for me, so I didn't have to wash it. How kind. I'm going to put a little bit of Boomerang Restyling Mist in there. We all know it's my favorite, but it's also going to help with making sure that hair stays damp, nice and detangled, everything. So Sam has more of a finer texture of hair rather than a medium or a coarse, but his density is pretty average. So a layered haircut is going to work great for him, just to make sure that he has some texture and movement in his hair when his hair type and characteristics of his hair type are really not set for motion and movement, okay? So I am going to be following along in our skill cards. If you guys go to your men's cutting, we're going to be doing our classic square layer, okie dokie. So we're going to be starting up at the top first. Gonna make sure he's down. Would you mind to scooch down just a little bit more? Perfect. Alrighty. So I do know that Sam doesn't wear a part or anything like that. A lot of times with our longer men's clients or more masculine clients, we definitely have more of a natural type of movement. We usually don't have a ton of styled parts. If someone has a styled part, no problem. All we have to do is adjust our elevation just slightly, depending on where we are in that bone structure, okay? But since I know that Sam just pushes it to the side where whatever hand is free and he can get his hair out of his face, that's what we're gonna go ahead and do, okay? So I'm going to take a vertical section. It is vertical because of where I'm standing. If I move over here, where I am going to be cutting, this could look like a horizontal parting to me. Does that make sense? Cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm first going to take a couple of measurements to see what we got going on. Here in his apex, we are a full comb's length and about 1.5 inches longer than that. So now I'm going to go to this area right above the ear near the mastoid process, and I'm going to see exactly how short I can take this haircut without cutting into the perimeter. Alrighty, so his outline is just about 1 inch from that comb, okay? So if our comb is 7 inches, his outline at the shortest and most vulnerable area is 6 inches. So we cannot take this hair any shorter, these layers, than 6 inches if we don't want to possibly do some fancy finger angle work or our cutting line work to make sure that these things connect, okay? I'm going to go ahead and I want to conserve pretty much as much length as I can for Sam, just because I know that his end goal is more of like a ponytail or something like that, okay? He definitely wants it out of his face, So that's why I'm opting more for a square rather than a triangular or a round. all right? Triangular is going to push that hair towards his face. Round is going to get it off of his face, but if his ultimate goal is to be able to put everything back, if I have too much shorter in front, I'm not going to be able to bring all that back. Just like how my hair is coming out in a few places. These areas are just not long enough to meet back into my beautiful clip from Nay. So I'm going to take Sam to a full comb's length up here on top. Making sure that I'm elevating everything straight up because that is going to be 90 degrees for this area. I'm going to make sure that I over elevate this front. And what I mean by that is, let me go ahead and turn him to the side. We can see here that our bone structure starts to round, right? I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling this straight up and it's going to slightly be away from its natural fall, right? If this was exactly 90, I would follow the head shape, right? Right now, I'm just trying to make sure everything is hunky-dory. Great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to take these vertical sections one past his parietal, all right? Now, it is going to look horizontal because I'm going to turn him and I'm going to work from the side because it's more comfortable for me, okay? So here we go. I'm going to bring everything from that mastoid division line and I'm going to bring that straight forward, okay? Nice and pretty. I'm going to stand on the opposite side that I'm cutting because I want to promote that elevation to make sure that I'm lifting it up at least to 90 degrees or higher than 90 here on top of my head or Sam's head, whichever. It's pretty much my head anymore. All right, now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come back to this section. You guys can see that I'm taking about a comb's width section. I am adding this all to my hand. This has become a stationary guide. You guys can see that I moved some hair out of my way because my little baby hand just can't handle it, okay? Now, the closer that I get to the parietal ridge, I'm going to start leaning away just slightly, okay? So I'm going to start over-directing, all right? I'm over-directing to the other side of the head, and I'm also over-elevating. So I was at 90 degrees for this section. I am now going past 90 degrees. So that's what this would look like. So just slightly pass straight up from the head. Just slightly. Why would I want to do this? I want to do this because I want to maintain and conserve his length towards the bottom. All right. Gonna walk back around. One more. His parietal ridge is right in here. I'm gonna bring that up. Making sure that my partings are beautiful and clean. That little bit past, and I don't have much to cut. So I'm gonna make sure that that looks beautiful. Now, before I move on, I'm gonna go ahead and cross-check this. So how would I cross-check it? I cut vertically or horizontally, depending on where I stood. So if we're talking horizontally, we're gonna go in and cross-check vertically. So I'm gonna come in, take my beautiful section, groom that hair out of the way, bring this bad boy straight up, and I should see that slight growth. There should be a very slight growth to my layer because I want to conserve a little bit of length towards there. So now what I'm going to do, flip this bad boy over, And I'm gonna do the exact same thing on this side. Okie dokie. So making that parting at my mastoid process. Using my small teeth to groom that hair out of the way. I'm gonna spin Sam. And then I'm gonna take my section. I'm gonna lay that there as I walk myself over. Once again, putting any hair that I can't control out of my way. Making sure I'm straight up. There's my guide. And I'm cutting. Straight up. Cut. Straight up. And cut. One more time. Awesome. Coming back to this side. Beautiful parting. Move that here. All right. You guys can see that I take the time to place that hair where I want it. If it's gonna have to inconvenience my client for more than a moment or two, I'm gonna make sure that that hair's not hanging on his or her face, right? We've all been there before. We've all had itchy face. It's no fun. Alrighty. To that occipital. And by occipital, I mean parietal. Grabbing that hair, tilting slightly away. Anything that I can't handle, I'm putting down. Slightly away, just a little bit. Picking up this hair, slightly away, hardly anything to cut. Great, great. So now I'm gonna do my cross check. Very nice, and I see a beautiful buildup. Great, great, great. So now what I'm going to do is, since I've done that front, I'm gonna extend that to my back section. So once again, in our 4 standard sections, I do not have mine clipped because of how much I'm going to have to take those clips up and down, up and down, up and down during this entire haircut. Because with our square geometric shape, I have to not only use forward, but I have to use backward over direction to make sure that I maintain the same plane, moving all the way around his head. So I'm gonna go back to my right side. I'm gonna take that beautiful section again. And then, let me spin him around. I'm gonna take that section all the way to my occipital, okay? So this is what this is gonna look like. It's gonna look like the exact same that we did in the front here, okay? Except I'm gonna be working down the head. Whoop. So what do I mean by that? I now mean that I'm gonna be bringing all of this straight up to exactly where we were. Whoop. And I'm gonna cut. I'm going to be elevating this hair in his crown straight up from the head because I want to maintain the corners that live in here, okay? That's not always our goal with square haircuts. Sometimes we want that boldness, okay? We want that nice, firm line stamped in there. For Sam, he doesn't have a ton of density. So square is the best shape for him because it's gonna help him maintain that density the most, because we're gonna be heavy in the front corners and in our back corners back here. So now I'm bringing this all the way up, checking. Wonderful. I obviously don't have as much work to do back in my back. Ow. because that hair significantly gets shorter through that occipital area. Only got so much area to film. We're gonna go the other way. Whee! No, I turned him this way because we needed it this way. Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, so now, moving all the way back. I don't have to take this entire section of hair, right? I can leave some of that. I just need a guide for my previous section. So once again, up and over, trim anything. Now, if and when I start getting to more of those occipital parietal areas, I am absolutely still going to employ that little bit of over direction, right? I need to make sure that I'm doing the same thing from one side to the other so it's mirrored. All right. Bounce, bounce. I'm now going to go back, part this in the center, and we're going to move on. Boop, boop, boop. Alrighty, so I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna cross check this real quick. I took this section in his crown horizontally and I have a wonderful connecting area. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to go ahead and push his front two sections forward. And I'm going to finish my back first, and then I'm going to move I'm going to finish with my sides, or move to my sides. The reason I'm going to, the reason I'm going to save my sides is because that is the area where he has the least amount of density. So I'm leaving myself the option for more over direction to conserve more length if I need to in the end. So now, I need to layer the back of his hair so he can get more movement back here, okay? Got it. All right, so, I am taking, once again, a comb size section. I use my large teeth to section, and then I use my small teeth to groom. Okay? What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna start towards this parietal area, and I don't want to go full 90 degree, because if I do, I'll be needing to take off all of this hair to make it connect. It's about 2.5 inches at the very bottom. I don't want to cut all of that off. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to slightly elevate it. Okay? So to the round of his head, but just a little further past. Here's my guide. And I'm going to cut. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to half that. And I now have a stationary guide up at the top and a traveling guide with me here in the middle. So now I am making sure that I'm bringing this hair back like a square, okay? So everything that I cut back here needs to fit inside of this plane, all right? So I'm not over directing to the center. I am just taking this straight out from where I want that hair to live. I need more length near my ears, behind my ears, because the head rounds so dramatically here, okay? So I'm going to just bring that straight back in my box. Make sure that I spy that guide and trim. Once again, pushing that over. Big tooth first. Small tooth first. straight back. There's my guide. Cut, cut. Okay? I'm gonna do the same thing to this side now. Give you a side view. So, once again, going back to that middle, grabbing this, spying that guide, cut, cut. So, you guys can see that with each of these haircuts, our skill cards are just a way to help you get started. After that, as long as you can explain to me or any of your other learning leaders why you're approaching a haircut a certain way, and you have sound logic and reasoning behind it, I'm gonna let you whack at it, girl. Because, or guy, whoever you is, I'm gonna let you whack at it because that's what my teachers did for me, okay? I did not know what worked and what did not work until I got my hands into that hair. And I made a couple of mistakes. You know, things happen, but I would rather you make them while you're in beauty school than, you know, them affect your possible future paychecks, right? So we can see that he has some layering going on through this top area. I'm now just gonna bring this bottom up so I can get a little bit of lightness through this bottom area. I just realized that this movie, it's now a movie. It's not just like a demo. This video has been going for 20 minutes. So I'm gonna speed this bad boy up. We really only have one more thing to do. So you guys can see that I'm elevating just slightly, still taking these vertical sections down the back. Making sure if I have something to cut, I cut. If I don't, I don't. Grooming, grooming. Boop, 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 boop. Up. I'm gonna trim that. All right. One more time on this side. Do, do, do. Bam. Fabulous. Let me repart that because I'm not happy. Right at that occipital. And slightly elevate. Alrighty. So then the very last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to plug these sides in with everything else. So I'm going to, at my mastoid process, so right there where that ear is, I'm going to take another vertical section. I'm going to bring that straight out. And I'm going to slightly elevate, just like I did that back. Bam! You guys see that? There and there. I already have a perfect guide at the top and at the bottom. Okay? So, making sure that I secure my front hairline out of this layer so I don't get a stair step. I'm going to elevate this just slightly, bringing it straight out from the head, and there I can see what I need to layer. Nice. The last thing that I'm going to do is come back to the corner of the head where it rounds the most, past that mastoid process, and I'm going to join my side section and my back section together, making sure I hold this straight out, and I will see that little bit of an area that I need to connect. So again, on this bad boy, gonna give it a little spritz. Take that area right by the mastoid process. Holding this up. Bam. And there's my 2 guides. Once again, I'm gonna half this. Make sure that my hairline's out of it. And slightly elevate again. Wonderful. And then all the way back to the round. Straight out from the head in the head shape, and I'm connecting. Fabulous. All right. So now I'm going to comb his perimeter in the way that it lays. It's natural fall. Okay? Now, my goal is not for this to look completely square. It's to look natural. So what I'm going to do is truly just go through, use my finger to steady, and I'm going to point cut so he has a really nice natural edge. Okay? So that's what this looks like. I'm going to go in. I'm going to take about 3/4 to an inch off. And I'm just mimicking his hairline. Gonna even that out. Go ahead and tilt your head for me. Fabulous. Fabulous. I'm over directing this just a little bit in the back to maintain that edge. Perfect. And then I'm going to come to my other side. Before I go across the back, I'm going to give myself, of course, I'm standing right in front of the camera. Beep, 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 beep. Go ahead and tilt for me. Fabulous. Over directing that just slightly. Wonderful. So now I'm going to have you look straight ahead. One thing with men's haircuts, don't have them look down. I did that to him years ago. This poor man looked like Betty Boop, okay? Don't do it to your men clients if that's not what we want to do, okay? So making him look straight ahead, I'm now going to look at my areas here and here. I have the perfect outline for me to go across and just clean up, okay? Unfortunately, I can do half of this like this. So I am going to use my comb and my shears to brace. I'm going to find that guide. And I'm going to give it a nice natural chop. Once again on this side, I now have a guide here in the middle, and I have a guide here on my corner. Just using that comb. And my shear. Giving him a unique natural hairline. All right. All right, my dudes. I'm going to spin him around so you guys can see. We have a fabulous layered cut that is not feminine, right? He can push this back. There we go. But he doesn't look like Kim Kardashian doing the slicky hair thing, right? Awesome. I'll post a picture of the final look along with your home play, okay? So keep a lookout. Thanks for joining me, my dudes. Bye.